Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Mona's Rants. I am your host, Mona Sheikh. How was the weekend, you guys? I don't know about you guys, but I have been following the closing arguments of the George Floyd trial, and it is sad and heartbreaking. And, I personally think that the prosecution has done a really good job laying out their case with facts and with the humanity and the compassion. And of course, the murder of Daunte Wright. So I just want to speak, if I can say this on behalf of my Black brothers and sisters in America, I'm exhausted for you guys. Like, this is exhausting. I'm not even Black, and I am exhausted for my Black brothers and sisters because we're barely wrapping up the George Floyd trial, and now we got to deal with what the female police officer did to Daunte Wright by confusing a gun with a taser because, that's where our tax money is going in horrible training of our police because, one of the saddest things about the closing arguments is that Genevieve Hanson, who was one of the witnesses to George Floyd's murder, she was calling the police on the police. Do you understand that, even in that horrific time of watching George Floyd take his last breath under Derek Chauvin's knee, they are still having faith in the cops to show up and do the right thing. So to have a further detailed conversation, I wanted to invite back my very good friend and a homie that I love talking to. Oh, and by the way, James, happy Monday to you too. Here's my very amazing friend, Tawala Sharp. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing today?
I'm exhausted for you guys, man.
Yeah, I was listening to you say that you've been watching the closing arguments. You're doing better than me. You're doing a lot better than me because I can't. It's too tiring. It's too exhausting. I mean, as you say, in the middle of this trial and these closing arguments, we're dealing with the killing of Daunte Wright. We're dealing with the killing of Adam Toledo. So, it's, and what's funny is in the Daunte Wright case, this past weekend, a man actually attacked an employee in a store over not wearing a mask. And then when the police came to get him, he drugged the police officer in his car and then got out of his car and hit the police officer with a hammer in the same Minnesota that Daunte Wright was killed for just going back into his car. Wow. You know what the difference was, though? The man who drugged the cop, saying he wasn't a person of color. So if you're telling me in Minnesota that this officer of a 26-year veteran was scared for her life because Daunte was going back into his car, she didn't know what he was going to do. But a man can drag an officer with his truck and then get out of said truck and attack him with a hammer. That's not worthy of being shot, much less tased. I'm way too tired of this to even wrap my mind around it. I can't get into the George Floyd trial because of just days later.
Listen, man, I think, as sad as this case is, something also magical happened with Black Lives Matter, which is other people of color woke up to the pain of our Black brothers and sisters who have been suffering for years and years. And now that everybody was at home and had time on their hands and weren't distracted by a gajillion things in their lives, realize that this is fucked up shit that has been going on for years and years. And that people don't actually take the time to get up and stand in solidarity with our Black brothers and sisters. So as fucked up as the situation is, it also is empowering and good to know that other people of color are getting up and saying, "Nuh-uh, this ain't gonna work." You can't go around killing our black brothers and sisters. No. We're watching, and you're going to be fucking held accountable. Period. You know?
The only thing that disheartens me about that is that this isn't new. Same as Rodney King getting beaten. That wasn't new.
That's right.
It was just caught on camera. The racism and brutality we're seeing by police officers is not new. Those of us in the hood, we know it's a daily occurrence. It is something we grew up with. It is something that I, from my teenage years to right now, anytime I get into my car, I'm like, geez, please don't let me get pulled over. And I actually bought like a small little inconspicuous one of the little mini cars just because I'm like, no cop is gonna pull me over in this. Really, that was my factor in going into it. I'm like, this car looks like someone who would never in their lives commit a crime. That's why I bought the car.
Wow.
Like seriously, that when I'm at the dealership, they're like, oh man, look at this car. This is snazzy. Or look at this car. This car is cool. Don't you can see yourself in that? I'm like, nope, because a cop couldn't see me in that. So no, I will not get that. Like seriously, like so this isn't new, and I get, I love all of the support coming in, but a lot of it still falls by the way of awareness.
Yeah.
I still have yet to see any real laws change, which is why you can have situations like this. You would not have a George Floyd and then not far away have a Daunte Wright. And then, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how does that happen within the same space? Because nothing has changed.
That's right.
How much more aware do we have to be, Mona? How much more do we have to see before someone says, you know what, let's change laws?
Right. This isn't about awareness. This is about change at this point. This is about change in legislation. This is about, Senate and Congress standing up and saying, we can't have this anymore. We just can't have this anymore. Right. Maxine Waters, who, I love Auntie Maxine. I don't know about you, but I do love Auntie. And Auntie came out and said, we are, the verdict better be guilty. Right, because he's charged on 2 second-degree murder charges and one. Right, he's on a second-degree murder charge. And she said, if it doesn't happen, then we need to press on. We need to stand our ground, and we need to keep pushing forward. And the judge came out and said that her comments were abhorrent. What really is abhorrent is the fact that this trial even has to take place. The fact that a man was killed over a fake $20 bill. That is abhorrent, right? The fact that a black woman is getting up and standing up defending a black man who was killed in cold blood by a fucking cop because he's a fucking racist piece of shit. So, let Maxine Waters fucking speak up because legislation hasn't changed, just like you said.
I feel you on that, but that's a double-edged sword. And it's a double-edged sword because
I'm not condoning violence.
No. And unfortunately, what she said, and I listened to her and take it out of context, as oftentimes words can. It's like we cannot chide Trump for saying the election was stolen, and I think you guys need to march to the Capitol and do something about it. But and then they did something, and then he wants to say, no, I had nothing to do with that. We're all like, no, you're guilty. Now, the same has to be said for Maxine Waters. If something jumps off because of what she said, and people are hurt, and because is she bailing everybody out? Is she representing anyone who gets in trouble? What is she going to do for the aftermath? Words are something beyond just words. They are very powerful. The wrong people who are incensed out there, who are on the street, the people who are throwing firecrackers and even taking shots at National Guardsmen. What happens if, God forbid, this does not go the way we want it to? And there's hell in the streets. We're looking at Maxine Waters. You also have to be very, very smart in these situations. We can't be stupid. We also have to realize, in this America, the moment you do something and you're black, you're going to get it. And you're going to get it worse than anyone else.
That's right.
Because, they're coming at you with guns and everything, and they're ready. Listen to the news. Every city across America is ready for what Maxine Waters is insinuating. We have to be very, very careful. I feel her. I feel the pain, and I feel she's just talking, just saying what's on her mind. But she's also Auntie Max. And when she says something, people listen. And if people listen, and are young people who are hot-headed and don't have sense enough to know where there's a line of how far you need to go.
Sure.
Then what? Then what? That's why.
No, those are valid points. Those are valid points. What's his face? Turtle face. Mitch McConnell came.
Face. That's stolen. Turtle face. Oh my God. I love it. You did not just call him turtle. I'm dead.
But he does look like a turtle. It's a turtle face. Yeah. Mitch McConnell, turtle face, came out and said that he is appalled at Maxine Waters' comments. And I was like, you were pretty okay with a lot of crazy shit that Trump did, and you stood by his side. And you know what I realized this time when I looked at his face today? I realized that beyond looking like a turtle, Mitch McConnell looks like an uncircumcised penis. I think I have really come to terms with that. Because he's always looking like he's going back into the hood and then just coming out abhorrent and okay, all right, going back, and that's kind of what I've seen a few. Anyway,
that's rough.
That's rough. But that's why he reminds me of an uncut penis. Moving on, Tawala. Moving on to bigger things, man. But so, I mean, honestly, I know you said you didn't watch the closing arguments, but I was listening to the defense, to the prosecution, and I don't know if you heard, but defense tried to throw. They asked the judge to throw the case out as a mistrial.
Yeah. I have heard the cliff notes, and I'm like, oh, you guys are trying hard. You're trying everything you can.
They're like, and you got to listen to the justification. So the defense is saying that this is such it's a popular case in America. I'm sorry, crack open a fucking newspaper. The world was marching about it. The world's talking about it. America.
You can move this case anywhere you want. They were marching in London. They were marching in Japan.
They were talking about it in Pakistan. People have been doing artwork on their trucks. These are truck drivers in rural areas of Pakistan, drawing and sketching pictures of George Floyd on their truck and writing the Urdu translation of "I can't breathe." This is really powerful stuff, Tawala. In rural,
I was actually impressed with even Biden speaking out. I mean, I was kind of like, wow, Biden, you're not making a lot of friends right now with police agencies across the country, because he was like, we will be able to begin race relations and fixing the problem once George Floyd receives justice. That's very strong words coming from a president.
That's right.
Like when you say when he receives justice, there's only one thing you're talking about. It's like one of those like, okay, Biden, I hear you. And they're enraged. There are police unions across the country calling for his resignation. Like, it doesn't work like that, guys. But we feel your pain, because guess what? You keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Tawala, one thing that I observed, which I found really fascinating, is that the officer who killed Daunte Wright is a female police officer, and she's already been charged with second-degree murder. So I was like, man, even white women can't get a break in this country. I was like, right? Right away, they were like, woman, fucker, second-degree murder charges.
Go get her, go get her from her house right now.
Go get her now. Derek Chauvin, the world has to protest for Derek Chauvin to finally be brought to justice.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Well, it's like even in situations like this, women still still get the short stick end of the stick. It's like, damn, man. They literally waited like days before they even thought about what to charge him with. Her, they were like, where is she at? She's at home. Go get her. Put her in the orange jumpsuit. Let's get the mug shots. Let's go. I'm like, damn.
Exactly.
Come on, chick.
Man, I watched the body cam footage of, Daunte Wright getting shot. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the body cam video. And what fascinated me about that video is because I went back and kept watching it because I wanted to watch exactly what was happening. So there are two male police officers. One of them is trying to get Daunte in handcuffs. And he was trying to get out and he was trying to get into the car. And the female cop, so the police training is that before they tase you, they have to announce it. So she kept saying, taser, taser, taser. So she said it 3 times, but the taser was on the left and the gun was on the right. So even though she's saying taser, 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 she had her gun almost out by the time she says the third taser. And she shoots him and he steps on the gas. And as the car takes off, she's like, oh my God, I shot him. And oh shit, I shot him, she says, right? And I went back and I watched it and I was like, I don't understand. If you have been trained to know the difference between a taser and a gun, then why would you say taser 3 times, which is required by, their training and by law, I guess, and then pull your gun out at the same time? Shouldn't you be pulling out your taser? Now, look, I understand these are high stress jobs, right? These are super high stressful jobs. I'm not taking that away, but you, as an officer, made a choice to be on the police force. You weren't born into it. You weren't born blue. You chose to be a cop. So the fact that you chose to be a cop and the fact that our taxpayer money is going for you to be trained, then what the fuck is happening at the trainings? what is happening at the training?
It's interesting. The thing that's happening at the training and what's being drilled into these officers' heads is that it's your job to get home and see your family. And these individuals in these neighborhoods that you're policing, they are a deadly threat. You do not pull out a gun to wound. If you are going to fire, you are supposed to fire at least a minimum of 2 shots, if not more. Okay. You are not supposed to shoot to wound because a wounded person is a dangerous person. You are supposed to shoot to ensure that they do not get back up. The issue at hand is when this woman approached Daunte Wright, when the situation escalated, her first instinct was, I've got to put this individual down. I understand that she may have said taser, 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 but unfortunately, her instinctual, the thing that's in her subconscious, the thing that came out was, I've got to put this person down, which is why she went for her gun. And this is what I've gathered from watching several experts, several former police officers and trainers say what happens when that happens, because this is not the first time that someone has pulled out a taser instead of a gun and shot someone. Hell, we can go back to Oscar Grant. Okay, had him on the ground and still on his stomach and still put out his gun and shot him and said, I thought I was going for my taser. It's not a new occurrence. What happens is, yes, you're supposed to go for your taser, but in your in your mind, you're supposed to go for your taser, but in your heart full of fear of a black individual keeping you from going home at night, you're pulling out your gun. And that's what happens. It goes into the societal view of black men and women in America, brown men and women in America. Hell, anyone who is not Anglo-Saxon, you are supposed to look at them as someone who is incapable of rational thought, who is a threat. Again, the individual who drug a police officer with his truck and then got out and hit the man with a hammer, why isn't that an individual threat? Well, again, is every mass shooter taken to Burger King, treated like a human being when they're arrested, but we're shut down for traffic violations? It goes into the subconscious and actually overt training that goes into these officers. And we can say it's training. But again, are we really doing something? Like, I love how in New York, they're now making it so that officers can now be the ones responsible for the lawsuits. Like they're changing that. Like they're no longer allowing you to hide behind your badge. It's like,
oh
no, when these suits come, they're coming for you.
Oh, wow.
We need mandates like that happening, across the country.
Right.
It's not gonna change until it affects officers beyond bad press, until it affects officers beyond civil suits, because that's not affecting police departments. That's affecting you and I. That's affecting the taxpayers. We're the ones who are paying out these multi-million-dollar civil suits to the city. Officers. There are so much legislation that goes into what police officers can and cannot do. So it is almost impossible to actually charge an officer for someone's death in the line of duty. It's damn near impossible. I know this because my uncle is an attorney who represents police officers. Wow. I know what goes into it. You'd have to show extreme negligence, which is kind of what we're seeing with the case of Derek Chauvin, because it was extreme negligence for you to be on that person's neck for that long. Not that you were on his neck. That's not the problem. That you were there for that long and he was already cuffed. Had he not been cuffed and he was on his neck for that long and died, they would have been like, open shut case. Officer was justified. They couldn't get the cuffs on him. You know what I'm saying? There are ever so slight mitigating circumstances that would go into this that make it like, oh no, we're even the chief of police there is like, oh no, that's not what we do, because it's overwhelming.
But
still, chokeholds and stuff like that, and the knee on the neck, that's an actual move. That's what they do. That's how they subdue someone to help, another officer or even the officer doing it get cuffs on or subdue somebody. That's a problem.
That's right. That's right.
So, I mean, it's, I get it. Trust me, I get it. I'm prayerful that there is a just charge, if only because I want a message to be sent.
Yeah.
But again, and you said earlier, until we actually get something on the books, until we actually change the legislation, until actual laws or bills are established that prevent this level of policing.
That's right.
What are we going to do? I mean, we're still trying to figure out, why the officer who ran into homegirl's house in Texas and shot her while she was playing, video games with her nephew or whatever, and she pulled out a gun in a state where open carry and protecting your house is legal, still was able to shoot her and kill her and say, well, it's justified. How? You didn't knock, you didn't announce yourself. You just looked through the window and saw her sitting there in the shot. Come on, like,
Tawala,
this is
man.
madness.
I remember a few years ago, I was visiting my family in Dallas, Texas, because that's where they all live. And I landed from the airport. My brother's like, "You hungry? Let's go to Cheesecake Factory." I said, "Okay." So we go to Cheesecake Factory. I shit you not, there is a man sitting in a booth as I was passing by to be seated with a giant gun, an assault rifle, to Cheesecake Factory, Tawala. Yeah. Because, shit gets real at Cheesecake Factory. I don't know if you've been recently, but
some of their food is bad. Some of their food is bad. And, I could imagine you needing to pull out the AK to address it with the waitress. But you do know this past weekend in Texas, they have just passed a bill removing the need for licenses and training, also allowing for open and concealed carry in Texas.
Wow.
So now you don't have to have a license. You don't have to have any training, concealed or open carry. Where are we going? We are seriously one horse away from the wild, wild west. We really are. I'm ready for someone to just, say, "You're looking at my car?" Pow. You know what I'm saying? So someone, cheating at a game of dominoes. Pow.
Right. Or
we're going back there.
Or you brought my cheesecake without raspberries. Pow. Like, I'm gonna shoot up the place. I'm gonna shoot up the place because I didn't get raspberries on my cheesecake. Or my fries are cold. Gonna shoot up the place. No, those are very legit concerns. So what fascinates me about this open and carry thing is that I wonder how quickly the laws would change unless people of color start getting shot in the streets in Texas. If you see people of color carrying assault rifles in the street, you see them carrying assault rifles to Cheesecake Factory.
Well, you remember what happened last time.
Yeah.
The whole reason that we started having all of these gun laws and all of this stuff happened when you go back to, what was it, 63, 64, when the Black Panthers stormed building, and they were like, and Ronald Reagan was like, oh, hell no, we are now going to put extreme limits. And guess what? None of these Second Amendment card carrying people, not even the NRA, defended that. They were like, oh, nope, yep, get them, get those guns, get them out their hands. That's probably what would happen if you start seeing black folks just walking around carrying pistols, and black women walking into the laundry with AKs on their back. That would change.
I'm talking about Asian people. I'm talking about brown people. I'm talking about everybody. Like in Texas, like it's open carry, so why can't we all just carry it? It's the month of Ramadan. Hey, I need my assault rifle because if I feel more connected to Allah when I pray, when my assault rifle is right next to me as I go down in prayers. That sort of thing.
I actually encourage every single person of color, if you are able to, just register for a weapon. Just register, just so that it's on the file in the city, so they can start looking and saying, oh my God, we are having a shit ton of new official registries of guns owners. Like that may be enough to change stuff. I don't know.
They might look at some ethnic names and be like, what's going on? There's a lot of Mohammeds registering for guns. Right. And not feeling so safe right now. A lot of Mohammeds coming through over here.
A lot of Mohammeds, a lot of Tyrones and Shaniquas and a lot of Jackies, just like what the hell is going on?
Carlos.
A lot of Jose's. Yeah. It might just be a problem, or with this gun-loving country that we live in, they may say, hey, you know what? The more the merrier. What are we going to do about it? I mean, we're living in an age right now. What was it in Wisconsin? The guy who gets into a beef with some people in the bar, goes out, gets his gun, comes back, shoots a bunch of people in the bar, kills some folks. Same thing happened just a few days later in LA.
Yeah.
This is where we're at.
Tawala, like as horrible the pandemic has been, there were no gun shootings when the pandemic was around. Gotta say that, And now that everybody's getting vaccinated, there's got to be a better way to do population control than these shooting sprees, man. I'm just saying, there's got to be a better way to do population control.
You could start having therapists implant images of the turkey-headed, penis face that you picture. Put that in my say. Anytime someone thinks about shooting someone, put that picture. Ugh.
You mean turtle face?
I keep calling turkey because he has the gobble gobble gobble. So old turkey neck Mitch. But I mean, is there something to do? Can you put the horse back in the corral once it's out running?
Listen, I don't know why. I honestly. I was just I was running some errands today. This is in California. This is in West Hollywood. West Hollywood, if you don't live in California, it's one of the more expensive neighborhoods. The cheapest house here is like $1.5 million, right? That's the cheapest house in my neighborhood. Homeless tents everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
On the 405, that's our main freeway. 405 is the busiest freeway in the country, by the way. 101. I'm seeing every park you go to, encampments, everywhere you go. And it's almost like, Tawala, I'm like sad to even say this. It's like I'm watching like the decline of America. Is it safe to say that, Tawala?
I mean, it's interesting because I see that there, on the 118, there's this one area I pass, and it's like it's in the median. You know what I'm saying? It's in between like two areas of the off and on ramp, and I'm like, there's an encampment there, and I'm like, how did you all get across the freeway and into this area here to start building up in like the shrubbery there? That's serious. It's like almost any open space, any underpass, any park, any everything. There's just so many segments of society, and I don't know about the rest of the U.S., but here in Southern Cali, damn near if it's not occupied, it's going to be occupied by someone with a tent. You know what I mean? If it's just space, there is no just open land because someone walking by will homeless will see it. 2 days later, it's a camp. It's a camp.
Right. That's right.
At damn near every corner, they're camping out in front of stores now. They don't care. Society is on such a crazy slope. And maybe because we're in the center, maybe we're seeing, maybe if we lived out in Barstow, we wouldn't see it as much. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure.
But Barstow drive through downtown LA,
isn't Barstow like the last stop before Vegas or something like that? No, it's Victorville. Yeah. But Barstow,
but it's out there. Yes, like I think Barstow, then Victorville. You know, it's on the way out there. I guess
Right. But if you're homeless, you're not going to go out in abandoned or kind of quiet areas. You're going to be where people are, so you can beg for money or get food or have some access to some things versus being in isolation where there's not a single soul to be seen for miles and miles, right? So you're gonna want to be around that. Man, Tawala, now that the female officer has been charged for Daunte Wright's, second degree murder, I don't know, man. Like, do you think she's going to be convicted? Well, first of all, do you think George Floyd, Derek Chauvin's going to be convicted? Let's go with that.
I don't know. And this is something Mo Kelly had pointed out earlier. He was like, a conviction or a not guilty verdict does not necessarily prove guilt or innocence. You know what I'm saying? It just shows what the court's decision was, right? He can be found not guilty, but that doesn't mean that he's innocent of what he's being charged of.
100%.
So, I mean, do I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in the justice system. I've seen it turn on us too many times. I have not seen a lot of just verdicts in my damn near 50 years on this planet. I mean, I can't really think of a time where there's been actual true just vindication where they really just threw the book at somebody, except for the brother who the black officer who shot the white tourist. I believe that was in St. Louis. Might have been. She called the police and he showed up on the scene and he shot her. They threw the book at him. They damn near buried him in the jail. So
of course they
that's
did.
interesting. That's interesting. I mean, he was black and he had a very ethnic name. His last name might have been Muhammad. I can't think, but seriously, it was like one of those, like, as soon as I saw his last name, I was like, oh, you're going to prison, sir. You're going to prison. I think that was like one of the fastest trials. They were like, so you shot her, huh? She's from Australia. She's visiting. Oh man, look at that. Look at those eyes. Look at that hair, sir. We're putting you under a jail. We're going to build a new section of the jail to put you under. All right. So, yeah.
Sir, is your last name Sheikh or Muhammad or something ethnic related? You're going to prison, sir.
It was like, Officer Sheikh? Oh, shit. You're done.
You're going to prison, sir. You're going to prison.
Done. I mean, and he's like, but wait, you guys let the dude who shot Mike Brown off. Like, what? No, it's different. It's different. Yeah. He's like, how? It's just different, Mr. Sheikh.
Very circumstances. Yeah. Well, the defense has come out and made a claim in the George Floyd trial that they're looking at everything. They're like, oh, the exhaust pipe because of the drugs in his system, the exhaust pipe and that. And just, it's like heebie-jeebie, mumbo-jumbo. Don't look at what's happening. Oh, look over here. Look at this. And, I wasn't surprised when the defense came out and said that the reason of his death is inconclusive. We all saw on camera what y'all did to this man for 9 minutes and 28 seconds. He was dying and he was already handcuffed, like you pointed out. And yet he was, Chauvin was just on his neck. But, you have to kind of also stop and think about this, Tawala. The prosecution made a good point. They said, this trial is not, George Floyd versus, the Minneapolis police. This trial is George Floyd versus Derek Chauvin, or the state of the state of Minneapolis, city of Minnesota versus. And so the whole point is that, listen, this trial is not about coming and attacking the police. It's about the bad apples that you guys always talk about. Oh, there's some bad apples. Well, great. Then that's what this trial is about. It's about pointing out those bad apples. And in the word of the great Chris Rock, he said, look, in certain jobs, you just can't have bad apples, right? You can't be like, hey, I'm a pilot, and about, 75% of the time, our flights are landed properly. Well, fuck that. I'm not flying that airline because you know what? There's this other percentage time that you guys don't land the plane. And I'm not going to take the chance that I'm going to get some drunk pilot or some crazy pilot who's just having a day, okay? Whose girlfriend just broke up with him, okay? And he's having a bad day and he's going to fucking crash in the mountain. So no.
I mean, like, look, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine there being a surgeon who like comes in and he's just not feeling it and he waits like 9 minutes to administer like, oxygen while you're on the table, like, and the nurses are like, doctor, shouldn't we give him oxygen? Nah. I mean, so it's like we can't have that. We literally cannot have that. Okay. Listen, you can't have bus drivers show up and be like, you know what? I'm going to close my eyes while going down the street for 9 minutes. You just can't have that. Okay.
Exactly.
Let's see what happens.
Exactly.
You can't have that, right?
Listen, Tawala, I went in for my neck surgery, 3-4 years ago? And while I was not passed out and half decapitated, while they were going in and pulling out my herniated disc and putting in a metal disc, right? If I had come out of that surgery and my doctor, and next thing you know, I was missing a leg, and I was like, hey, my neck still hurts. Is like, oh my God, I slept on the job. Sorry. I thought you needed to amputate your leg, but my neck still fucking hurts because you didn't fix the metal disc,
right?
Can't
have that. You can't have that. You can't have the surgeon who says, you know what, I'll be back. I have to go to the bathroom and take a smoke break for 9 minutes. Like, his chest cavity is still open, doctor.
That's right.
You can't, there are certain things that, yes, you cannot have. And when you have the power of life and death in your hands,
yes,
but see, here's the thing. I mean, we're looking at the entirety of the system. You have to look at all these officers who are doing shit tons of overtime and are encouraged to do so because they're making like 2 and 3 times their salary in overtime. You're on your way home, you're pulling somebody over, he says something crazy to you. I mean, I've said something crazy, the damn checkout person at the damn store said, just said something a little like, what? Saying like, you can be a little tired at the end of the day. Sure. And just imagine you've got a gun and an extreme power trip, just the biggest complex in the world. And you're pulling someone over that you already think is beneath you, that you think is guilty of a crime.
Yes.
It's a bad situation. Can we get more police officers, from within the community hired? Maybe that'll help. Right. But if they're trained the same way, Derek Chauvin could have been, Derek Shake. You know what I'm saying? It's what happens. I have seen bad done by Black police officers, white police officers, Asian police officers. It's one of those things where we're talking about policing. It's not necessarily Derek Chauvin. It's the system at large.
Yes,
and I don't know if we're doing enough to address that because we're so hyper focused on, what's going to happen if Derek Chauvin, gets it, damn, what happens with him? What are we going to do about the system? Because say if they throw the book at him, 12 years plus, whatever, no time off for good behavior. And everyone's like, yeah. Has anything changed other than that one officer was shown a lesson? A week later, when someone else is killed with a chokehold or someone else is shot to death in, Minneapolis or wherever.
Yes.
Has anything actually been accomplished? At what point are we going to stop being shocked? I look at this and I absolutely agree that the mindset that went into just stopping Derek Wright and the mindset that went into automatically elevating it from, a traffic stop, and then after you looked it up, he had a warrant, whatever. Fine. You didn't know that when you pulled him over. You know what I'm saying? You pulled him over. No, you got a warrant. Okay, before all that, right?
That's right.
When I get pulled over by a police officer, you know what I don't have? I don't have an attitude. You know what I'm not doing? I'm not mouthing off. Saying, why are you pulling on me over? What do I do? Bad way. Because you know what I do realize? Every morning when I wake up and I wash my face, I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, hey, Tawala, you're black again today. Okay. Every day I realize I'm black. And you know what that means? That means that I have a very specific idea of how the world views me. I know if I'm walking through the parking garage at the radio station and I see someone, a woman who is not a person of color, really a woman, period. And if we're going into that dark parking garage, I'm going to wait and I'm gonna go back upstairs. I'm gonna let her get in her car and leave because I don't want there to be any misconceptions as far as what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because I know I am a fairly, in the right lighting, I could be a pretty intimidating looking black dude, right? So I think we have to stop being surprised as a people and stop saying like, I can't believe. No, believe it. I think the sooner we as a people believe it, then we will actually do something about it. I think that's why you have, all of these fake campaigns out there to create awareness or to get people riled up and raise funds and whatnot. It's because we still can't believe it. Oh, I believe it. I have believed it for a long time. The sooner we get there, the sooner we will seriously move on actually making some significant changes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to be in the same cycle. Seriously, this is this year. We had the same situation again last year. How many? Jacob Blake, Akil Gurley. I mean, the list goes on and on. We would run out of time trying to count the number of people who have been unjustly murdered, and we're still here anxiously awaiting pin drops on a trial of one officer. America needs to be on trial. The American policing system should be on trial.
Agreed. Honestly, Tawala, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, Tawala, I think what fascinates me right now is that even after right now with this trial and all the other, just like you said, unjust murders that took place of young, and innocent black men and women, I don't see any legislation being changed or passed, even by black Congress people or black senators or people of color that are in those positions. Do you see that? Because I don't.
No.
How come you think?
Because, look, just because someone looks like you doesn't mean that they feel like you. Okay. Just because someone looks like you doesn't mean that they think the way you do. Black people, Asian people, Latino people, Indian people, we're not a monolithic people.
That's right.
What I mean? And I may, if I'm elected to office, I may really be about change for Pasadena, but that's me. But what if I'm running against a brother who's like, damn that, let's party. You know what I'm saying? It is about the people that we do elect to office, the people that we get behind. And once they get in office, are we holding them to the things that they ran on? Are we holding them to the things that they've promised? Remember, in Kentucky, that brother who's down with Mitch McConnell, who was all about not the attorney general, who was all about not putting on murder charges for the killers of Breonna Taylor.
Yep.
He was black. He's black. Okay. Wow. And guess what? He doesn't think like me. He does not. He was like, the jury was like, he never told us that, murder charges were even on the table. Like he told us consider this, that, or the other. And that's how the officers got off. That was a brother. That did that. That's why we may back people, and it's funny. It's like the number of people that I know that voted for Barack Obama simply because he was black, right? Mm-hmm. Did not necessarily know what he stood for, really. They knew yes we can, but they didn't really know his record. And there are those of us who
that's a pretty
American
it is.
It is. it's what we do. It's you want to get behind someone that looks like you and all that, but again, if it was about just voting someone in that was black, hell, why wasn't Jesse Jackson? Why didn't he have a better run? You know what I'm saying? Why didn't Homegirl have a better run for the presidency?
But don't you know, Tawala?
Chisholm.
Listen, you gotta be perfect. When I say perfect,
say
you're
that.
a person of color, you're a woman, you gotta be perfect. You gotta have a clean, pristine, perfect record. Listen, they try to come after President Obama to be like, his middle name is Hussein. He's a Muslim. He's a terrorist. He's sympathizing with ISIS. He's like, I drink and I love bacon. So there's that. I don't know why you guys keep coming after me. Oh, my tan suit, when they couldn't find anything, they started going after his wife, started going after the kids, started going after the fact that he wears a tan suit. I mean, you gotta be perfect, Tawala. Don't you know the standards? Look, standards are different.
It's almost like we keep forgetting the fact that the vice president is a Asian black woman.
Yeah.
And
did you hear about what happened?
Wait, what new thing happened?
Did you hear about the woman that got arrested who was threatening?
Oh yeah, the nurse. Yeah, the nurse.
Black woman. I was sad, man. When I saw that, it made me sad.
I mean, but look, the number of black people that I know that just can't stand her, and it's like, why? Because her record in San Francisco. I'm like, really? Well, really? What is her record in San Francisco? I mean, all those people in jail. How many people? What do you actually know other than what you've seen in a Facebook post? Because it sounds like you're repeating something that you saw on social media. It doesn't sound like you actually know. And so you've used that to like form your opinion of self-hatred, you know what I'm saying? Just you want to attack the sister just because, haven't even given her the opportunity.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those, like, who would you have rather wanted there? Oh, I don't know. Anyone but her. Oh, wow.
Anyone?
Okay. Anyone but her. You know what I'm saying? She hates the black man. Really? Okay. Got it. And I said, but I noticed that you were really, liking, Kim Kardashian posts, but okay, that's fine. I'm just saying that we have such a twisted ideal of what we want to get behind. We have such a twisted ideal of how we want to dish out hate for ourselves and for our people, and what we want to support, what we don't want to support. I mean, look at where we're at right now with all of the new attacks against Black Lives Matter, the organization, not the sentiment, not the fact that, yes, okay, our lives matter, right? But when you look at all of the parents, from Tamir Rice's mother, now Breonna Taylor's mother, you have all of these parents who are now coming to this organization who's saying, stop using my child's name in your campaigns to raise funds. Because they send out these little email blasts and donate now in the name of Breonna Taylor, donate now in the name of George Floyd. And you these parents saying, you guys weren't there for the funeral, you aren't there for any legal expenses. What are you doing with all these millions of dollars that you've raised? Now, I know people are going after the one sister in LA who bought the house in LA, the $1 million house in the upscale neighborhood. And, it is one of those things that's like, you guys have raised some $30-40 million. And most of the people that work with you guys are volunteers. That's tough to justify. Like, where is that money going? It's going for campaigning. It's going to spread the word.
She bought multiple properties.
Oh yeah, no, multiple, and so it's tough. So again, now then where are we at? Because there was a sister on Fox News the other day. I saw the video, someone sent it to me, and she was just going in on Black Lives Matter, and that's one of those like, ooh. So where are we at?
Was it Candace Owens? Who was it?
No. It was a mother. I can't remember off the top right now. It was one of the mothers. I was just looking at the video and I was like,
oh, one of the mothers of the victims.
One of the mothers of one of the victims, and she was a guest on Fox News. I'm trying to think. It wasn't Trayvon's mom, but it was one of the more noted moms. escapes me right now. But yeah, she was on Fox News just the other day, and I kind of was like, okay, let me file that away because I'm gonna have to look at that later. But it's one of those things where this we're at. So like, if the organization that was started to bring awareness and got all this money from corporate America and from all the individuals who are not people of color, who are easing their guilt to donate, and even those of us who were, donating, where's all that money going? Those are really good questions. It's like, I mean, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Show me the bill that they funded to get done. Show me the money that they're using to bail people out. Because I know several people have been to those protests who have been arrested, who have had to pay their own bail out, who were sitting in jail. And it's like, well, you guys have all these millions of dollars. You guys aren't able to bail everybody out. You guys got the game a little backwards, but I don't know. It's just, to me, it's tough. We're at a weird place in America where we don't know our left foot from our right, and we're just walking in circles. And I mean, are we going to ever get out of this group? Maybe when aliens come and blow the planet up, maybe when the zombie apocalypse waiting for that happens. Day,
Tawala. Listen, if we've learned anything from Independence Day, is that the human race comes together when we have a common enemy, and that's usually when there's an alien invasion. So that's really what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to some people on this planet getting kidnapped, then being anally probed, and then being dropped back, and then crying about what happened. And then there's a whole fleet of aliens coming to invade us. And that's when we forget brown and black and white and just really get our shit together and be like, we're going to die if we don't get our act together. Like, if we don't we are. Come together as the human race. Like, forget about, there's no brown or black or white or Asian. There's only one race, and that's the human race. If you draw blood out of my body and I draw blood out of your body, and you put those two jars of blood next to each other, nobody would be able to tell who the blood belongs to, because blood is fucking blood, period.
No, a phlebotomist might know.
A phlebotomist, but they can't just.
Not by looking at it.
I think Mitch McConnell's. You're right. Yeah. But if it was Mitch McConnell's, I think it would just be green, because it'd just be chlorophyll, right? That turtle green.
Either that or it'd be that alien blue, because I definitely think that some stuff he says, I'm like, you're not a human being.
Yeah,
I mean, like they motor oil may pour out of him, because he's a synthoid, a cyborg, something. He's not. You can't be human and think the things that you do like someone like that. Like, you're not real.
Honestly, I think it would be brown, because it would be just shit, because he's so full of shit. So it would just be that, just a jar of shit. It's like, what is this? This is Mitch McConnell's blood. This is his insides. This is what came out.
What type is that? He has type diarrhea. Most people type O, type B. No, he's type diarrhea.
That's bad blood. Mexican food, like that you're looking at. That's what's happening in his system. I'm so glad that we are getting really into the nitty gritty of things here with this conversation, Tawala. But
yes, we always do. I love it.
We always do. Tawala, when your daughter goes out, do you have the same conversation with your daughter when it comes to police versus the conversation you have with your son?
Yeah, I do.
Exact same conversation.
Exact same conversation. I say, and I try to always, implore upon them, like, be calm, don't make sudden movements, just yes and no answers. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Keep your hands up. Don't reach for anything. Don't scratch. Nothing. Be respectful. And all that, because I always tell them, I say, do you want to be right, or do you want to, go to jail? You know what I'm saying? Like you can be right and go to jail. Or you can just, be cool, let them do what they got to do and come home, because again, you thinking that you're smarter than the system, or you thinking that you're going to, be able to mouth off to a police officer, man, good luck with that. Good luck with that. We are not in that America. We are not. You know what I'm saying? The 60s was not that long ago. You know, the segregation and shit like that in this country. I'm one generation away from that. Okay, one generation away from that. You know, my mom saw the black and white fountains. You know, so it's like this is the reality, and I'm also doing my best to try to encourage my kids to look beyond race. I'm doing my best because of the fact of the school district that they're in, and just their friends and just everyone that they're around, just because of where they live. You know, they're one of a handful of black, you know, kids in their class. And so I don't want them to go in there with that chip on their shoulder. I love the fact that at this age, it's just, they just have friends, and it doesn't matter what race, it doesn't matter, you know, what your sexual orientation, it doesn't matter anything. It's almost like that's played out. You know what I'm saying? Like for my son who's older, and the kids that he's playing with, and the folks that he's video gaming with, if you video game, and I don't care what you look like. You know what I mean? And that's it. You know, my daughter, she's in a sewing class. You sew, I sew, we both sew. Hey girl, let's sew something together, you know? And that's just what it is. And I do love that about them. But yes, I do also try to make sure that I remind them, I say, hey, that's good, man. That's beautiful, man. I really love that. You're black.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just know that. Just know when you go out with your friends, if anyone gets in trouble, it's gonna be you. That's just the world we live in.
I don't know what to say, Tawala. I just know that as an ally to my black brothers and sisters, I stand with you guys. I stand in solidarity. You know, my neighbor Jonathan, he's like my baby brother. I've known him for like almost 9 years now, and he's a black man. And you know, I get, you know, before in the beginning of this, live stream, you mentioned about your car. You purposely bought a car that would be non-threatening to the cops. Like, you bought it with that intention. And my friend Jonathan was telling me that whenever he has a cop that's behind him, because he knows that the cop is probably running his plates and he knows it, you know what he does to feel calm and to diffuse, to make himself look less threatening? He puts on Disney tunes. Disney fucking tunes. A grown-ass black man has to put on Disney tunes so the cops don't feel that he is a threatening black man. And, you know, when he told me that, I started crying because it really broke my heart. I was like, you know, that is a privilege that we as brown people, Asian people, all have this privilege. We have that privilege. My black brothers and sisters don't have that, but I have that privilege. I have never once thought, oh my God, a cop is next to me or a cop behind me is going to be running my plates, and, you know, let me put on Disney tunes so I come across less threatening. That's not something that's ever crossed my mind, right? But this is an everyday reality for you guys, right? Everyday reality for Jonathan, for Tawala, for Mo Kelly, right? You can be the fucking senator or a congressperson and be a black man or a black woman and still fucking get arrested and still be pulled over and treated like you're trash.
Yeah. When I see cops behind me, the very first thought I have is I start looking for places where I can pull over where there is cameras. I start looking for AMPMs or 7-Elevens or, you know, gas stations that have cameras. I start looking for supermarket. I start looking for some place I can pull over, even a ATM machine. I actively start scanning. Where can I pull over where it will be caught on tape? Or I don't have to worry about some bystander, you know, having a good heart and catching whatever's happening to me. I try to do that. I try to go someplace where I know there's a camera, so at least it can be seen. The whole thing. Not just what's on your little badge camera. No, I want the whole thing seen. And I try to do that. I consciously think of those things. I'm like, okay, where am I at? How far am I away from some place where it's visible, where it's well lit? You know, all those things are going through my mind because I want to go home. I want to see my kids. I want to get to the house. I want to lay down after a long day and actually go to sleep. And it's hard. It is extremely hard living with that reality. It is extremely hard knowing that if I catch the wrong officer, it doesn't matter if I've done anything. It doesn't. You know, it doesn't matter if I've been asked to pull out my license and I reach for it and they shoot me. You know, it's one of those things, like, it literally doesn't matter. And those are things that I think about. I shouldn't have to think about. I shouldn't have to worry about a police officer. I should be worried about, hell, you know, wearing the wrong color in the wrong neighborhood. I should be worried about, you know, things that like that. Like, I'm in this gang's neighborhood and I'm wearing the wrong color. This is dangerous, you know, but I shouldn't have to be like, oh shit, a cop's behind me. I hope he doesn't kill me. That's a bad thought. That's a really, really bad thought. It's a really disheartening thought. You know, it is it's a sad state of affairs. It's heartbreaking, but you know, I also cannot allow that to overwhelm me, to become my reality. I can't let that turn into something that makes me afraid of the world, afraid to go out, you know, afraid to have these conversations. Because we also have to live. We also have to live. And I still say this is still a much greater country than, like, right now, what they're doing, what like China's doing it with their takeover of certain areas where there's like freedom. Ha, okay, sure thing. Listen, thing. It's tough everywhere else. You think it's bad here. Shit.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, Jack Ma, who was, you know, who found Alibaba, this massive, like, billionaire, disappeared. You know, he disappeared, gained a lot of power, went up against President Xi Jinping. He's gone. You can't find this guy. Alexei
took his company from him.
Oh yeah. Alexei in Russia. I mean, the man is at the verge of death, right? Putin wants him gone. He is the last man standing against Putin, right? Yeah. So you're absolutely right. Compared to the other countries and the fucked up shit that happened in other countries, yes, we are a much better country and a much better society. But specifically, if you are a black man or a black woman, the rules are different. They just sadly have been, right? The history of this country is very poor when it comes to the treatment of black men and women. It's a very poor history when it comes to the treatment of Native Americans, right? And by the way, why do we keep calling Native Americans Indians? We've already figured out that Columbus thought that this was India and it wasn't. So let's just keep calling them Native Americans. It's just, okay. I don't know why we keep calling them Indians.
I don't know. I mean, you know, you think about even societally how right now there are all these sick and twisted attacks against Asian people, almost because it's become a trend, right? There is no rhyme or reason. There is no like secret call out, and it's not happening by just one people. You know, I've seen video and I've seen attacks by from blacks against Asians, white Latinos against Asian. There's the one Latino man who straight ran and double jump kicked a man out of his wheelchair in San Francisco. I mean, what kind of sick ass society are we living in where not only are you attacking Asian people, but you're attacking the most fragile? You're attacking older people. Like, what's going on in the world? Like, Mona, if someone can tell me, you know, I mean, it's one of those, like, who's got it worse right now? I mean, you've got Asian folks, you know, being attacked for no reason, for literally, and I get, okay, you know, if you want to go back and say, well, it's a lot of people that are mad about coronavirus. No. That's right. I get that there has been a lot of hate towards specifically more people that are believed to be Chinese. At halftime, people don't even know. They don't ask. They're just like, you look Chinese. You gave me coronavirus. You know, so it's stupid shit like that. But then now when you look at these things, these attacks now are more insidious and evil. They're just random. I see you walking down the street. You haven't coughed. You're nothing. You're just standing there. And you're 76 and you're going to catch this heat. Why? What has broken in our society where now my Asian brothers and sisters are being attacked for random bullshit ass reasons.
Right.
That that kills me. That
Tawala,
kills me.
you know what it is? So the more I kind of get a more aerial shot, sometimes I just kind of sit down and I'm just like, man, sometimes I get like an aerial shot of America and I'm just like, it almost feels like sometimes it isn't even sometimes about race. It's just about kind people versus unkind people, right?
Okay.
Right? The unkind, it is the battle between the kind and the unkind, right? The kind people, like yourself, coming out and saying, hey, man, there are fellow black brothers who are coming, or sisters, who are coming out and attacking fragile Asian people for no fucking reason. What the fuck? Right? So it's not about, I personally don't think it's about even that whole, you're a black man. You're not going to do that sick shit because you're not sick. You are a kind, logical human being, right? I am not going to strap a bomb to my chest and go and blow myself up and blow somebody else up, right? Because I am a calm, kind, like logical human being. So I feel like the older I get and the more aerial shot of humanity that I get, I feel it becomes more and more about kindness versus unkindness.
Yeah. I mean, we're getting to that point where it is boiling down to good versus evil. I mean, you have in Alabama right now, they're saying that yoga, they're banning it from being in schools because yoga is evil and will lead to a Hindu lifestyle. And that's evil. That's like, are you kidding me? You say that yoga is a gateway to practicing Hinduism? It's a gateway. That's what it is. It's like, are we living in the real world and this is an evil thing?
Yeah,
they are literally like they're fighting to get yoga in the schools. What are we doing?
They were trying to ban yoga pants a few years back. They said because they were too revealing and they were too distracting for some men. And the legislation was, listen, they can't seem to come to terms to pass legislation for gun laws. But yoga pants, those are like, fuck that. This is where we draw the line, people. Yoga pants.
It's too much of a temptation because you're making the rapist want to rape.
Yeah, so you make the rapist want to listen.
You're making the rapist want to rape, and these pants are banned.
Those camel toes are screaming at you. And
if I see one more camel toe in here, I'm just gonna grab it. Grab it. I'm gonna grab it.
I wouldn't know what. I wouldn't know what to do with myself. So yeah, I mean, because being a Hindu is so bad. Vegetarian, don't want to fight, Kama Sutra, yoga, horrifying.
I can see why Alabama's against it. I can see why Alabama has said no.
It's terrifying.
We will not have our kids practicing this gateway meditation. It's like, okay.
How dare they?
And when you say stuff like that out loud, you're like, are you sure this is America? Like, I know on Google Maps, it's where it says I'm at, Los Angeles, California, the good old US of A, but is it? Because wow, man.
Yeah. Apparently these people haven't gotten the memo on the Hare Krishnas, because I don't know if you know, there were a bunch of white people who converted to Hinduism, and they go and sing in the streets and tell you about the wonderful life of being. So white people need to get the memo on Hare Krishnas, man, because listen, some of y'all have already converted to Hinduism. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a Southern Cali thing. In Alabama, you are Christian, and that's it. I don't want to hear about anything else. You're anything else, then you are a Baptist. If you're not a Baptist, then you're a Catholic. And that's about as far as we're willing to go. And this is the world that we live in. We live in a world where bills are literally having to be passed in certain states for children to wear natural hairstyles.
Wow.
Okay. That's happening in this world. In the 2000 and now, there are bills being written to pass to protect students with certain hairstyles. Okay. From punishment from teachers and administration.
Right.
Cut those dreads off or get out of my school. I'm not going to have any of that here. Have any of what?
How dare you have that fro? How dare you? You are dangerous if you have that fro.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I've seen reports that the school administration has said that certain women have shown up with afros. They're distracting. That hair is just distraction to their fellow students. What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we can't pass gun legislation, but damn it, we can stop them from wearing those afros.
Listen, unless you're hiding snacks in there, it is not a distraction. Okay.
Yeah.
Unless you are pulling out snacks. Listen, I get my hair, like, this takes a lot of work because my hair is super curly. My hair is like this big, right? And I can easily hide snacks in my hair if I want. I can clip it just like right here. Unless I'm doing that, there's no reason for you to come after my fro or anybody else's for that matter. It's fucking ridiculous.
But this is the world that we live in. We want to pass no license, no training bills in Texas and South Carolina and other states. But we don't want to address the fact that the dude who shot up the FedEx Center, the guy who shot up the building, the office building here in Orange,
many Sikh people, so many innocent Sikh
people who are out of their mind.
Yeah,
people who are literally crazy.
Yeah, so many older Sikh people. The Sikh community really got affected by the FedEx shooting. It's just, I don't know, man. It just constantly feels like America is at war within itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's too much freedoms, all that. It's like today, Mo Kelly, he posted, the latest, subversive racist email that he received, and it's one of those things that we get them so often now, that they're just very telling. Like, there's a certain type of people who listen to the show and they feel well within their right. They're very comfortable with sending in these crazy racist emails. And it's like, what world do you live in? Well, I guess you live in a world of social media that's giving you carte blanche to just say whatever's on your mind. You may not get away with saying this in person, but yeah, I'm gonna tweet it to you, or I'm gonna email it to you, or I'm gonna Facebook message you, or I'm gonna put it out there. That's the world that we live in. We live in a world where, I don't know, but also, if you try to chide that or say that's wrong, it's just freedom of speech, and it's like, wow, man, wow,
right.
That's freedom of speech now. Okay.
Robert said, I'm suing that state legislature for wasting our taxpayer dollars on clearly unconstitutional laws. So that's good. Robert is a immigration attorney, a great one at that. Man, Tawala, we're gonna wrap up, but I pray that the verdict is guilty. I think they've already started, boarding things up. They've already started, putting up fences because they're expecting a riot. I think they're expecting a riot on either verdict. I personally think if he is found guilty, I don't think there's going to be a riot. I think it's probably going to be celebration in the streets or some kind of, which really, if you look at it, it isn't really a celebration, and an innocent man is dead. Right? So it's not really a celebration. But it is a celebration for justice that at least the man was brought to justice. Tawala, where I know that you do Nerdorama on iHeartRadio on KFI. Where can people follow you? Yeah, you guys do Nerdorama. I want to come do Nerdorama once.
Okay, look, you definitely welcome to come and nerd out. We are at Nerdorama News on all platforms. You can catch the Mo Kelly Show Saturday, Sunday on iHeartRadio by way of KFI AM 640. Check us out, man. We love having conversations like this. We may not curse as much, because it's radio, but
that's true. That's right. James said, thanks, Mona and Tawala. Informative and important chat to have. Have a great night. Well, thank you very much, James.
Thank you, brother James.
Tawala, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you very much for being here and having these difficult conversations. So thank you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. All right. I will see you soon. Take care.
Yep.
That was my friend Tawala Sharp. very heartfelt conversation, very informative conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We had a couple of trolls come in today, so I had to kind of put them in their place, which I always love to do. Guys, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. You can go to youtube.com/Mona Shake Comedian. I'm also on TikTok and Facebook of the same name, and Instagram and Twitter at Mona's Comedy. I will be back tomorrow with a brand new guest. You guys have a good evening. See you tomorrow.